there, thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to the Torgo Entertainment YouTube channel, Torgo here. And welcome to the first prom of 2021.
Show me now!
Now, DJs have had gigs throughout the pandemic. I've had weddings throughout the pandemic. But high school events and other school events have pretty much fallen to the wayside. So this one is pretty critical for my DJ career because this is the first high school gig I've had in a year and a half. And not only is it the first high school event I've had in a while, it's a high school that I haven't done an event for in 5 years. Today, I do the Horseheads High School Senior Prom. Now, there were 2 years in a row I did the prom for Horseheads, 2015 and 2016. They used to have a very strict formula for how they did things. It used to be in their gymnasium, and it would be a 5-hour affair each time. The first 2 hours, they would put all the kids in the cafeteria, they would make everybody eat there, they would usually have cocktail hour or live music, which wasn't really my responsibility, and then after 2 hours, people would start trickling into the gymnasium where I would have the setup there. And also, my friend Mike Morse, who owns his own lighting company, he would provide this gigantic trussing that would take up the entire gymnasium. We're talking 20, 25 feet tall, spanning the entire length of a basketball court. Very impressive stuff, which is what I thought was gonna happen. And like I said, I did that prom 2 years running, but then they stopped hiring me for a very simple reason. Unfortunately, there was an issue with payment. They kind of stiffed me $200 on the last time I went there. It ended up being one big miscommunication, I guess. But it definitely put a damper on me doing events there. 5 years later, the students got a hold of me, they're having a prom, and here we are. Now, they were gonna have 2 proms originally. They were gonna have 2 proms back to back, 2.5 hours each, with like a 30-minute break in between. But as they were planning the prom, Governor Cuomo of New York State relieved a lot of the restrictions on events, so they decided to condense everything down into one 3-hour event, and here we are. We're gonna be running 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock, and they're having it at the Elmira Country Club. We've been there before, especially on this channel, but in case you forgot, here's a map to show you where that is. 20-minute drive, very simple, not hard to get to at all. I always ask the students ahead of time who are contacting me what the theme of the prom is, and this year they're going with Starry Night. A bit of a generic theme to be sure, but something I can definitely work with. Not quite as much fun as The Great Gatsby. I'm telling you, that green light that I had in 2019 for Addison went completely unnoticed. But for the coronation this year, what they're doing is they wanted me to play a song off the Tangled soundtrack, the 2010 Disney movie that's pretty much Rapunzel. So I took a look at the scene and I decided that, you know what, I really like the color palette of this scene where Rapunzel and Flynn are in the boat, so let's try to recreate that. So I decided to program the uplighting and the stage lighting to look like that. So we're gonna have a very dark purple background, kind of like back here, and amber lantern lights, and that's going to be in the Element Hex ST pars. So in my head, how this is going to work is I'm going to try and get a couple of students or faculty or whomever to hold on to those lights. I know, other people touching DJ stuff. Holding that and kind of moving slowly around the dance floor as the king and queen dance with each other. I think it will look amazing if I can pull it off. The colors definitely work with each other. I spent the entire night last night programming all the lights from scratch because I wasn't that thrilled with how I had them for Chris and Corinne's wedding last week. The other thing I'm worried about a little bit for this prom is the fact that I haven't done a school event in a year and a half, and I'm not entirely sure I know what the kids are listening to be completely honest. Now, I don't normally watch gig logs from other DJs on YouTube simply because I don't have the time, but I checked out a couple of them just to see how proms are going, and oh my goodness, they're not going well at all. A lot of them are kind of awkward. You have these kids who are just jumping up and down. Like, I don't like that awkward, hyperkinetic energy at an event. I don't think that's what I'm going for because that makes me look a little bit lame, and you never know if something's being done ironically. So what I decided to do is you can't just go off the charts anymore because I think everybody knows the Billboard charts are kind of skewed one way or another. The Rolling Stone charts are completely useless. So there's a website called Talkboard.com, TOKBOARD.com, and it tells you the most popular songs on TikTok week by week, month by month, etc. Now, a lot of them are completely pointless for me because you can't really get them in an edited format, and I really don't want to play unedited music. I did a prom in 2012 for Wellsboro High School, and I played a lot of unedited music there. I was just starting out as my second year DJing, and all the requests I was getting, I had the songs that they wanted. LMFAO's Shots comes to mind in particular because it had just come out a couple months prior. I had the music, but it was all stuff that wasn't edited. So I remember asking the faculty, hey, all these students want this unedited song, can I play it? And they were like, yeah, that's fine. And that kind of opened up the gateway to having a lot of songs like that, and the kids were having a great time. The 2012 Wellsboro Prom may be the craziest event I've ever done in terms of a crowd being lit or what have you, but the adults were absolutely mortified and I never got hired back at that school. But a lot of the stuff that you do at weddings, you cannot play at proms. Usher, yeah? Like that song, what were they, 2 years old, 3 years old when that song came out? I mean, they wanted a couple throwbacks, the student officers that got a hold of me. They said they want a combination of the new stuff and some throwbacks, but they didn't really give me when throwbacks, they just said throwbacks, so that could be anything. And the other thing is, I don't know what they consider new music. A lot of these kids have been sitting at home for 15 months with nothing else to do but to go on social media websites and listen to new stuff that I might not even have access to in the first place. I always get the craziest requests from high school stuff. I don't know whether a song request that I'll get is by somebody's cousin on SoundCloud or if it's something that's really popular and I'm just not with it anymore. And when you're dealing with high schoolers, you really don't want to be lame because they may hire you for something else. They may remember you for when they get married a couple years down the line. There's so much potential for future events at a high school event. And not to mention the faculty keeps hiring you back year after year if you do a really good job and if you fit within their budget. So with all that going in mind, I am hesitant but excited to do a prom. I'm a little concerned how it's going to play out. I hope these kids really wants to have a good time. I hope it's not awkward. Do they still want to have a good time? Or is there going to be a lot of talking where they're just happy to be in a social setting with each other? I hope you're ready to find out with me. Let's get to it and let's go. As I've been doing lately, we'll start with the aerial photograph of the venue. A lot of empty space, but I mean, it's a country club. I don't know what else you're gonna expect. If we flash a little bit, we're going to be in here. The ballroom is actually nestled quite a ways away from the loading dock on the right side. Now, there are doors on the left side, and you may think, why can't we just use that? I have a lot of stuff on wheels, and that entryway has stairs. That's a bad idea. So we have to roll in everything from the right side from the parking lot. It took a little longer, but we were able to get everything in, and we were able to get set up in about an hour and a half, an hour 45. They actually left us a table. Look at that big old moon. We had to move that because it was blocking a fire exit, and we couldn't have it directly next to our stuff, so we had to move it off to the side, and then they eventually moved it on the other side next to one of those windows. Here's the room. When they said Starry Night, they meant Starry Night, like the Van Gogh painting. I wasn't expecting that. I thought they were just going with, stars and lasers and all that good stuff, but they went all in on it with the blues and the golds and everything. I still decided to stick with the way I was going to do things because it looked alright with the purple that I decided to go with for a lot of the backgrounds. Quite a large dance floor. I wasn't sure how I felt about this. It ended up being not big enough, but you'll see that a little bit later on. So here is the entire ballroom, which is where people are going to be hanging out most of the time. And then they have this over here. There's some photographs. They have a photo booth. They have a photo opportunity right there. And it looks nice now, but it ended up raining really badly. And here we have the setup. We spent all the time to take care of it. Uh-oh, I learned how to DMX. Look at all the lights, color changing across the room. We have uplighting everywhere. Look at all this. I was very satisfied with how this all came out. So we go back over to this area, and this ended up changing a little bit. So in this room, this is just more of a receiving than anything, which is kind of weird because the entrance for all the kids is on the other side, which is that stairwell that I talked about, which is why I didn't want to go there. So they have a Starry Night picture right there for photographs. And down in the bottom corner, I have a little bit of uplighting in the room with just the ADJ hex pars. I haven't used those in a hot minute because I don't really just have the opportunity to. And here we have the Royal Galaxy, and I figure, Starry Night, the blues, it was probably a good idea to bring it. I'll find a use for it, and sure enough, I did.
It's subtle, and it doesn't really appear in any of the photo stuff. And over here we have the photo booth. This isn't for me, that's Mike Noto. Him and his brother Joe were in charge of the photo booth. They hired them separately. The Notos are good people. I was very happy to see them. I haven't seen them in like a year and a half, 2 years. So we go back in here, and I guess we'll start with the center pillar area. So obviously I needed to do something with this. So this light is actually from the school. It looks kind of like a game show buzzer. And then I look up and I was like, what does this thing do? And you look up, it's like a little bit of a cloud. It's like, oh, that's cute. You know, like it has very little coverage. It's a cheap light, but you know, I decided to leave it on, left it working. And here we have the Manfrotto tripod for the camera. I have this stuff underneath it just to keep that splitter up off the ground because it's 2 feet and it is a 12 gauge, but I just wanted a little bit more give. Let's talk about this subwoofer. The JBL SRX 828 SP and my brand new facade, the Coro pattern. This is Lycra in the back instead of acrylic. I wanted it to be lighter, and I wanted something a little less formal for school stuff, and I think it looks really great with what we have. We have the light-up ADJ speaker stands. They stayed on purple the entire night. The QSC K10.2 speakers, nothing new here. See the moon, we put it in that back corner. It ended up being a really good place for it. On top of the totems, we have the Focus Spot 3Zs from ADJ, and I finally figured these suckers out. It took me long enough. And we have the totem. I showed the inside of the totem last time. I'm not going to do that again. And we have the Element Hexplar, which acts as the receiver for the Airstream connection, and that is connected to the 5P hex inside the truss. Here we have on my iPad the Airstream DMX Bridge app, and we have my presets right there. I have 16 presets. Here is my Shure SLXD microphone, and underneath the tablet we have the receiver for the microphone. No problems with that today. Water supply and my own little water bottle. Oh, the light came on the camera. So here we have the Power Bar 65, just to get a little more power up and out of the way. The Pioneer DDJ SX2 controller. I know some of the later Pioneers sound like butt, but I think that's fine. Here we have my Samsung Odyssey notebook running Virtual DJ 2020, my SanDisk solid state hard drive with all the music, the Logitech mouse, that we have that extra battery for the GoPro. There's the GoPro on the Spider tripod, and we have it plugged in so we don't run out of battery. We made that mistake once at the web wedding. And here we have the Airstream DMX Bridge itself. We have a little bit of DMXing. All my bars are lit up. We have the Audio-Technica MX50 headphones. And I don't think I showed them in this footage. Yeah, see, now we're good. They looked like, they looked terrible before. And my anti-fatigue mat, the Allendale Defender, and the UB9s. One of them is behind me, the other one's uplighting a picture on the side. We have the 12s underneath the table, lighting up the facade. There's the power supply. We have the foam sticks. We brought the same 25 that we didn't use last week. So let's swing out and around here. We only have time, really, for one more thing, and you know what that is. It's prom season, baby. It is time to level up.
Let's go.
Somebody call now.
2001. Horseheads High School. Prom Queen. Come on up here, Allie Clee. This is the vote that came down to a difference of 2 votes. Your prom king vote. Come on. Alex Torgo. Make some noise for your class of 2021 Prom King and Queen, everybody. Let's see if you know this song. I feel like some of you will. I bought this song as a joke. I didn't think I was ever going to play it. And 4 of you have requested it. So what do I know? Okay, thank God, you guys. I was like, do not make me play all minute and a half of that.
What you know about laying down in the deep?
And we're back. It's not the day after, it's right after the event. I mean, it's 12:15, so I guess it is the day after, but still, right after the event. It ended just over 2 hours ago. Woo! That was incredible. those kids came to play. I was worried, as I mentioned at the top of the video, that I wasn't sure how they were gonna react to wanting to be on the dance floor, and the first 20 minutes or so was kind of dead, but that's expected. Whenever you do a prom, it's not gonna be right from the word go, people on the dance floor. People are socializing, they wanna get their pictures while they still have, their makeup in place and are not sweaty heathens. I forget what song I played, but as soon as that one came on and 3 or 4 girls came out on the dance floor, they all flocked. And unfortunately, a lot of the camera footage from that first 45 minutes or so I couldn't actually use because the dance floor was so packed and they were butted up right against the camera. You'll see right here, I wanted to use all that, but I mean, yay, here's some kids' heads. So we ended up moving the camera tripod over the course of the evening. We put it in the top left corner, and Phil actually got creative during some more dancey moments. I ended up keeping the GoPro right at the DJ booth just like I did on the last wedding, and that seemed to work out the best. Oh man, the lighting that we had for the coronation dance worked splendidly. We found 6 kids that were trustworthy enough. We had them hold the lights. One of them accidentally used the touch screen on the ST model, so it changed colors, so we had to quickly get it back here to, reconfigure it and then send it back. Unfortunately, one of the lights got taken. It wasn't one of the STs. We made sure that the kids had all ST lights during that portion to make sure that we could scoop them up easily, and I programmed it so the STs changed to that orange color when I went to the preset through the Airstream for the coronation dance. No, it's one of the larger ones, the old school Element hex pars. Not even the one with the door hinge, the IPs. The regular ones, we just can't find them. I'm not saying a kid stole it. I mean, it's possible but improbable, because what I think happened is some of those uplights that they had, I felt like those were being scooped up as well, and they probably just thought that that was part of the school's stuff as well, because I know that some of the uplights were stored away with their gears they were trying to get out. So I think that someone just packed it up by mistake. I hope so, otherwise they're gonna learn real quick that those lights are $350 a piece. But a playlist is at the tail end of this video. I had a great time. I am extremely smelly and I'm quite tired, but I have a bunch of editing to do. So I hope you enjoyed this prom. I have another prom on Thursday. A Thursday prom at Jasper Troopsburg, which we've been to many times before. So join me for that. I'm Torgo with Torgo Entertainment. I'm in a very good mood, in case you can't tell. That was a great gig, and I'll see you with the next one. Take care.
One thing I forgot to mention, and this serves as guidance for any school that wants to have a prom in the future. If you're going to do stars as your theme, that's fine. If you're going to have constellations instead of numbers for each of the tables, that's cool. But there are 88 different constellations. Don't have a Cancer table. Come on.
Go up.